Oh, there we are. Okay. Well, hi, friends. Doc South here. And of course, we're into, the 4th of July weekend. And I know one place that's probably going to be busy this weekend. And well, it seems to be always busy, is Colonial Williamsburg, Virginia. Huh? Have you ever been down there? Take a tip from me. If you haven't, put it on your list, your bucket list for sure. That is such a cool place. What's even neater is, at least last I knew, you can get there by way of Amtrak. Yes, you can if you want. You can take the train down. It's Sandy and I have done that, and it's a blast from the past. What's cool about Williamsburg is that when you get down there and you start walking around the facilities, you are actually transported into the late 1700s during the days before and after the American Revolution. So yeah, it gets intense. You know, you can find the number one. All the folks there that portray the characters do not break out of out of out of their particular character's life. They, even though they know all about watching, they like watching the Super Bowl when it's on, or they know all the stats for the ball game, and or they have maybe a favorite show, or they like eating at a certain fast food restaurant. That's all behind them. Yeah, when they're on stage, so to speak, at Colonial Williamsburg. In other words, they are from the 1700s. And so you might run into a very worried mayor of Williamsburg, Virginia, because he's got to figure out, he's rushing past you because he's got to find roused up a militia because the British are coming up the peninsula and they're loaded for bear. That kind of thing. And and heads are going to roll, shall we say. There's so many things they have going. Um, Fascinating stuff. And of course, so Sandy and I enjoyed that kind of thing. We love going down there. And when I was in regular radio, I don't know, I got the bright idea of calling Williamsburg, Virginia, and seeing if some of those impersonators, the ones who portrayed maybe General Washington, um, Thomas Jefferson, Patrick Henry, perhaps the governor, the British governor of Williamsburg, would those guys like to get on the phone with me and tell their story? And and the way we worked that was, the deal was, when I called them, I would explain to them that I'm calling them from the future, and thanks to innovations um, in psychic phenomenon and such, and electronics and modern devices, I could talk to them in their time. They could hear me, and I could hear them, and I was just calling from the future to ask what it was like in the past. And of course, they would know to go along with that. Probably most people from back then would have hollered witchcraft, and they'd be setting out a party to go look for me and burn me at the stake. But I know one time, this was rather interesting. I got to interview over the on the air a fella who was, I believe, he was the head slave at the Colonial Williamsburg Inn. There, it's a certain tavern. I can't think of the name now, but it was the tavern in town. Okay, and I'm sure there were others, but this was the one where a lot of the big shots went to, and he was like the head waiter, maybe the maitre d', and we were having the best time talking, him and me. Can't think of his name now. Let's call him Jim. And I believe he had a wife. Yeah. And of course, she was a slave as well. But still, she was his wife. There, and he would wait on the various the the top uh, diners, customers to the tavern, and it was fascinating stuff. He'd be I'd ask him like who was the best tipper, and he'd think a minute. The best tipper. What do you mean by tip, sir? I mean a man who might give you would the proper word be gratuity? Just a little extra money for good service. Though we in our day we call that a tip. Ah, yes, sir. Yes. In other words, yes, he would say a kind of gratuity, a little extra. Yes, for you, for your pocket and your pocket alone. Yes, yes. He says yes. Well, let me think. Well, George Washington is a pretty good tipper. I'm very good friends with his manservant. We he and I get along rather well. I show uh, General Washington all I can to I do all I can to make his stay happy in our tavern, in our inn and tavern. Yes, and he pays me well. Yes, sometimes a shilling. Yeah, again, we're talking British money, so I'm. But in other words, the guy said, "Okay, Washington, he's okay. He'll tip you good." I said, "Well, are there any that are poor tippers?" Ugh, let me think. Yes, yes, a scoundrel. And I said, "Who's the scoundrel?" "Thomas Jefferson, sir." "Oh, Thomas Jefferson does not tip well." "Oh, my heavens, sir. You can't believe how the work we do for that man, and then next to nothing, if anything, sir." I said, "Well, he's actually now he's the guy on in my day. He's his face is on the one of our coins, a coin, a 5 cent piece that we call a nickel. A nickel, and a nickel is worth 5 pennies, 5 pence." I said, "Yes." "I shouldn't doubt his head is on the on a coin worth just 5 cents." I said, "Is that all you get from him sometimes?" "Sir, if we get anything." And he went on from there. It was fascinating stuff. I think and he of course he hears all the gossip, all the plans for the campaign against the British, or various little dealings with the government, and he's every now and then, they might ask him his opinion. Yeah, there was a guy who was actually, though a slave, had a relatively decent life within the inn. And I think, if I recall right, after we broke out of character, and I was just talking to the man who did the portraying, he did say, I think he said that fella who he portrayed was eventually made a free man, which was certainly good. But it was so funny to hear about Jefferson being a cheapskate. Honestly, I can't look at a nickel without thinking of that cad. Oh my, oh my. And but it was I do highly recommend that if you ever get a chance, if you want to get kind of the lowdown on colonial history, that's a great place to go. Great place to go. And you can't get those the characters to break out of who they are portraying. It's absolutely fascinating. Um, just just amazing. Anyway, I just thought I'd say. And like I said, it's a nice Amtrak ride down, or you can drive. And if you get tired of being there, well, they got amusement parks all over the place. But honestly, at Williamsburg, I I just find myself totally infatuated with the place. Sandy too. She was going nuts looking at all the antiques. They got a museum on the grounds where there is a silver set, for like having, so you could have a gala dinner. And that silver set takes up, if you were to put it on a table, it would have to be a table the size of, say, two king-size beds. And there are so many. Oh, it's got to be worth, they've got to have a guy with a machine gun up there somewhere guarding it. I mean, they almost have to. So beautiful. But again, check it out sometime. Okay. And you'll find it very, very much to your liking. And uh, totally in character. It's, well, you'll see. It's unbelievably amazing. Anyway, I thought I'd say Colonial Williamsburg. Give it a shot. Okay. We'll see you later, friends. Thank you. God bless. Bye now.